Welcome, everyone, to the Proven Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Church. I'm a music producer from Northeast Ohio. I began this weekly interview series to give you different perspectives from artists, producers, engineers, and other individuals in the music industry. In each episode, we touch on not only what has helped the person succeed, but we also touch on what has shaped them into the person that they are today. I hope you're able to gain some real proven knowledge from the show, and that it helps elevate you on your own journey to success as well. Let's get into it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 220 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. For the second week in a row, I welcomed an artist who my good friend Dom sent me. His name is Trell Brooks. Trell is a North Carolina-based MC. We talked to Trell today about his upbringing in music, how he got started in band, playing different instruments, and also being a poet as well, and how that led him into rhyming and rapping eventually. He talked about putting out, singles in the last few years, the project that he's working on that's coming up. He got to shout out a lot of collaborators. And I think what was really cool in this episode was hearing what Trell does for the local community near the Charlotte area where he lives currently, and what he plans to do within the next 10 years, just using his voice and his platform to help different people out, especially people in the younger generation, which I think is super awesome. And I'm just excited to be connected with Trell, and definitely excited to see what he does moving forward. So without further ado, let's get into this one. So welcome everyone to episode 220 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Today we have an awesome MC, another guy that my friend Dom introduced me to today. He's a North Carolina native. Very happy to have him here today. Trell Brooks, how you doing, man?
Good, man. I'm good. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm trying to get through a lot of health stuff recently, but I can't complain. We're still here, still doing our thing, and I appreciate you for joining me today. And we usually have the guests start out by giving some background on how did you get into music, like how long have you been at it, just for people that might not know you and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that I really got into music was through writing. Starting to write in high school, and that transitioned over into taking my writing into like a more poetic type of style, and then performing it, through spoken word poetry. And so from spoken word poetry, it led to me trying out rapping. At least recording and trying to see what I sounded like, and seeing how I could, fit my delivery and my style and my raps into certain pockets within beats, and just kind of learning myself as an artist in that regard. But that's really how it started. Went from high school throughout college, and then after graduating, it was just something that I kind of stuck with and started exploring and experimenting more with.
Yeah. So how many years have you been at it total now?
I would say for the music, I would say 10 years, about 10 years now.
So around like 2014, probably somewhere in there. Yeah. Nice. And so you said you have a background in spoken word and doing like poetry and stuff. Were you doing like poetry slams and things like that, like with other poets?
Yeah. So absolutely. I was doing poetry slams. I was doing showcases and, somewhat competitions. Like when I got to college, I linked the school that I went to. I had found out there was a community, right, of poets and spoken word artists and writers. And so I kind of got into that scene and just went to different workshops, went to different showcases, got to kind of go on tour with some of these people as far as different college campuses. And so that really kind of elevated my pen game and just broadened my horizons as far as, content and style and delivery and everything like that. And so, but like I said, the background was definitely writing and spoken word, and then it kind of transitioned into music, over the last, 10 years.
Yeah. And that brings up a pretty good question, because I've heard some people that, they were writers beforehand. I don't know if I've heard that anybody that I've interviewed was a poet and then became an MC or anything like that. That brings up a good question, though, which would be, how did you find that transitioning of, when you were writing to beats versus when you were just writing like things out of your head? Was that like a struggle for you at first, trying to make these things into songs, or was that just kind of like more of a natural thing because you had the practice at writing, and then it just kind of was a free flowing experience to get better?
Yeah, I think it was a tad bit rocky at first, just because I had never done it as far as writing to music or writing to beats. The thing with poetry and spoken word, without the music, or even if you have like a soft piano or saxophone playing behind you, you have almost free range, to kind of set the pace and control the tempo of the piece that you're reciting. But with the music, as far as the beats, you have somewhat of parameters and gates, and you have to be very creative and almost meticulous on how you are going to play certain things, as far as your phrases or your words, your metaphors, your points that you want to get across, things that you want to emphasize. And I think because I had a background in music as well, as
Mm.
far as instruments, playing saxophone and drums, and being in a jazz band, some of those skill sets that I developed from being in band transitioned over to me taking my words and my voice and allowing that to be an instrument as well, and to be able to kind of somewhat do the same things that I was doing on the drums and the saxophones, but do it lyrically now
Yeah.
and putting it through the mic. So I wouldn't say it was a struggle. It was just something that I kind of had to find my footing in, getting into it. And then once I found somewhat of a groove, that I personally appreciated and liked and had fun with, it kind of took off from there.
Yeah. It's almost like having the skills there and then kind of refining them and reshaping them a little bit to kind of fit like the new lane that you were trying to go for, which I like a
Yeah,
lot. So that's pretty
absolutely.
awesome. And as far as, having background in playing instruments, do you still utilize that like in your own music? Are you adding things to your own productions? Like if you get a beat from someone, are you adding like a saxophone to it, or have you utilized that in any way with your own music so far?
I haven't. So as of lately, with over the past few years, with me just kind of doing things solo, because I came out of a group, as far as the music. With me being on my solo journey with this, I haven't done too much of it. Now I'll have like ideas that'll come to mind that I'll pitch to a producer or the engineer, but it's been a long time since I've actually added some of my own, productive ingenuity,
Yeah.
so to speak, into my music, because I've been so focused on the lyrics and the message, and now creating experiences and moments through my
Hmm.
lyrics. I've been so heavy on that, but I had a guy tell me the other day, he found out I used to be in band and did saxophone. He was like, "Man, you need to get back into it." And I said, "Yeah, there's a part of me that still wants to. I want to
Yeah.
go, find a saxophone that I can kind of pick up and get back on some drums and just, get my chops back up, and because is like I said, the voice is an instrument, right?
Hmm.
And the lyrics that I'm spitting and I'm rapping and I'm putting out there into the world, I see it as such, and so I want to get back to a place where I am just full on like instrumentation, as far as whatever comes to my head with horns, whatever comes to my head with production with beats and sounds and certain rhythms and all of that stuff that comes with it. I've been so heavy on the lyrics that a part of me is wanting to expand my artistry by getting a little bit more creative on the production side as well.
Yeah. That could almost be like a passion project one day where you're like, I want to do this now, and then you kind of just start building it out. I feel like it's something like that also is more of a time commitment because you have to record things more on your own and put everything together with live instruments. But I've
Right.
been I've been a big fan, like personally, of a lot of MCs that are utilizing that. I actually discovered an EP by Sky Zoo, who's a pretty big MC. He did
Okay.
one with this group called Dumbo Station, and it's called The Bluest Note, and it's kind of like an ode to like Blue Note jazz.
Yeah.
And it's like him just rapping over very classical jazz production. And I was
Nice.
like
Nice.
blown away by that. I'm like, this is really cool. I wish a lot of other people would do this. And I'm just kind of into that style too. So if you ever did something like that, man, let me know because I would be probably the first to like tap in with that for sure.
Absolutely. You're giving me ideas now.
Yeah,
Like that's all. That's on point, man.
yeah,
That's something I'm gonna need to look into for
yeah.
sure.
I might even have to send you that project if you wanna have a listen to it because it's definitely. I kind of just stumbled across it. Like I'm a fan of Sky Zoo, but I didn't know he
Yeah.
did that EP a few years ago. It was like during the pandemic.
Yeah. I would love that. I would
Yeah,
love that. Yeah. Please
for
send that
sure.
to me.
Definitely will, man. Definitely will.
Yeah.
And so you said you're obviously we know you're from North Carolina. Where are you from in North Carolina? Are you near like Charlotte or Greensboro or where are you at?
Yeah.
Where are you based out of?
Yeah, so originally, I got a shout out to my super home set of Johnston County, Clayton, North Carolina, Raleigh, RDU, all of that area. I grew up there,
Okay.
but I'm currently in Charlotte. And I lived in Greensboro, so I'm familiar with that area as well. So I just say I'm from North Carolina in general, though, man. I'm out of Charlotte currently right now. I've been here for going on 10 years, going on the last 8 years, 8 to 10 years. I've been here, and I grew up in the Raleigh area. But yeah, North Carolina's home, man, is home to some of my favorite lyricists, some of my favorite producers. Of course, I'm a big sports guy, so you already know how we get down in North Carolina, especially when it comes to basketball. But yeah, man, North Carolina's home, man. North Carolina to the core.
Yeah. So you're probably a Hornets fan then, I take it.
Ah, no
No?
shot at the Hornets. That's the home team.
Yeah.
So I got respect. I'll take my son to the game, take
Yeah.
wifey to the game. Like, that's one of those things where it's up the street from us. So yeah, we're going to support. We're going to have a good time. As far as like a fan, like a diehard, I can't sit here and say that I am.
Yeah.
But that is the home team. That is the home team.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm a fan of the Hornets. For us to be a hoop state and North Carolina and Michael Jordan and
Mhm.
Tar Heels and all that, you would think that we'd be a little, on a higher tier. But hey,
Yeah.
that's another that's another conversation.
I know they've had a rough couple years, especially since they came back to Charlotte too. It's kind of been
Yeah,
like uphill battle, but yeah,
right.
yeah, because I know like even just having Duke and North Carolina in the same state is like a big thing because a lot of people are tapped in with college basketball too. But
For sure.
yeah, so that does lead me to a good question, which is something I like to ask a lot of guests, no matter where they're based out of. Is what is their experience, with their music career being based where they're based out of? So like, do you have a lot of collaborators in the city that you're working with day to day or even year to year? Or have you always kind of tried to network outside the city and just do things online and kind of grow your fan base that way? Or has it been a little bit of both?
I would say it's definitely been a little bit of both for me personally, because with us, especially me being in Charlotte, South Carolina is like right there.
Yeah.
Like you can get, depending on where you're at in Charlotte, you can get there in 15 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe an hour. And so I've definitely collaborated with a lot of other entrepreneurs, artists, producers, and engineers in South Carolina. I've been on different shows with people from New York and Atlanta, and so it's one of those things where I think we're all recognizing that this field, this industry, this space that we're in, you can't necessarily do it alone. You can't do it by yourself. And
Mm,
I think the more that you get to meet people and have conversations and work with other producers and artists and kind of see the different styles of creativity and how people pour into their craft, it's very inspirational and it gives you, insight to kind of what else is out there that you can explore. And so, like I said, I've done some stuff online. I've tried to build my fan base and my audience and a name for myself that way. But I'm a busy man, so when I do get the chance, I try to make sure that if I do travel, if I go back home, that I do at least one thing to where like, okay, this person knows my name now, or I got a chance to get in the studio with such and such, or at least I was able to go see such and such, or meet so and so, or
mm,
whatever. So like I said, with the schedule that I have, I try to make time and be very intentional about, collaborating or working or just getting information or just, seeking out things. But it's definitely been a little bit of both for sure.
yeah. And I think it's being able to kind of show up as much as possible in the right places that always goes a long way too.
Yeah,
And I know even for like myself, the way I've always looked at it is if if I'm able to get to this opportunity or make something happen, I always feel like I'm kind of obligated to do it. And even
yeah,
if it's something that's like not super high on the list, if you end up doing that, it could go a long way
for
for you.
sure.
So yeah, man, and that's great to hear that it's kind of been both locally and beyond as well.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah, it's
awesome,
been
man.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And outside of just recording, writing, doing all these things, what else do you have on the day to day? Could be hobbies, could be spending time with family, anything that you do to kind of recharge, reset, and help fuel your creativity in general. Like what do you think that is for you?
Yeah. So lately, but not even just lately in general. Like I'm a family man first. I have 4 children. I have a wife. So if you have children, if you know somebody has children, you already know it's my attention is in every direction. And I'm also an educator. I teach. I teach at an elementary level. and I also coach. I coach basketball at that same level. And so with teaching, with coaching, being a youth leader at my church, having my wife, being in the community, I am constantly busy. I'm constantly working on something. But I'm not complaining because when it comes to the music, I have so much inspiration from everything that I do because I'm in the church, I'm in the school, I'm with my family, I'm with the kids that I coach. And in the times that I have myself, I'm back on a regular routine now, working out. I'm getting a lot of inspiration. I'm getting a lot of thoughts that just fuel the fire that I have for any project, any single, or any visual that I'm working on because I'm living life, and I think that's very important as artists that we don't get so stuck in just being in the studio, being in the pad and with your pen or being in the phone. Is like, I am a servant leader, and I know that I've been blessed with a gift to rap, to write, and to spread a message or tell a story, whatever it is, however it resonates with people. But I have to make sure that I'm living life. So when it comes down to the music, it can be as authentic as possible, as open and transparent as possible, and most importantly, it's somewhat life changing and or thought provoking, if not, for the people or the listener. And so I'm grateful for all of the hats that I wear. I'm grateful for the roles that I play. But it just adds more to the music. And last but not least, I also am into trading, right, with stocks and stocks options, futures, and currencies. And so that gives me a whole another way of looking at this whole music thing too, because you know especially with artists that are taking it seriously, you got to have it funded, right? A lot of times we'll use our day jobs or a percentage of our check that we're getting to try to get some studio time or for travel or for beats or features or, whatever it may be. And so that opens up the door. It's opened up many doors, to be able to have the flexibility and the capacity to do more because of the profits that I'll make from the markets. And so with all that I do, like I forever have something to talk about, forever have something to write about, and to contribute to, when it comes to being in this space of music, artistry, writing, and just the pure craft of, being a hip hop artist.
Yeah. Hey there, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick minute out to let you know about a couple different ways that you can support the podcast. One of the ways is by clicking that support the podcast button within your streaming platform. That is if you want to be a monthly supporter of the show. You can contribute either 99 cents, $5, or $10 a month. So that's the first way, and that's the more traditional way that we've had now for the last couple years. The other method that we actually just recently introduced is from our good friends over at Ko-fi. Ko-fi is a virtual tip jar. We have set our limit to a minimum of $10, but you can go make one-time, one-off donations. So if you visit ko-fi.com/the Proven Knowledge Podcast, you'll be able to donate. And all these different forms of donation go towards getting new guests every single week, getting potential sponsors on board to do giveaways, and overall just making the show better for you guys. So if you want to do that Ko-fi link, it's ko-fi.com/the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Otherwise, again, look for that support the podcast button in your streaming platform if you'd like to be a monthly supporter. And I just want to say thank you guys for your contributions. And without further ado, let's get back into the episode. I love that, man. And it's about, I think that's really like a good testament of, taking in all that inspiration from all those different aspects of life and kind of putting it into your art, into your craft and everything. Yeah. And congrats on that, man, because it sounds like that's a really nice, like, healthy balance you got going. And I know it's probably not easy, and you would probably be the first to, tell anybody that it's a lot to deal with and a lot to kind of balance all at once. But, it's great to have a lot of things like that and productive things like that going on. So, hats off to you, man, for using, your talents to do those things. So I think that's awesome. And is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to? Could be someone you're working on an upcoming song with, anybody on your team that you want to give a shout out to. I always like to do that on these episodes as well.
Of course. I have to give a shout out to Forever Hollins Management, Dom, and Shock the Culture, my manager. Man, he already knows, and anybody that knows him, man, that is a hardworking man. I respect his hustle and his craft, and just his he's a wealth of knowledge, man. He's you know, I didn't realize how blessed I was to have him until I really started seeing like, oh, wow, he really does this. Like he's really about it. And so shout out to him. Shout out to my brother Kirk, who's another brother, friend, and business partner of mine, who teaches the financial literacy and education through investing and investments, doing a lot for people in the community of learning, just different styles of investing and helping people to kind of transform their lives and their family and friends' lives. Man, salute to him. God bless those two brothers and my brother Mo. We are something like rappers. It's me and him together. We are a duo. We're called something like rappers. From the day that I met him, man, and he's got this energy and just this rawness that I can always appreciate because it reminds me to just be unapologetic within the music, right? To really put it all out there and to give it my all. So that's the squad right there as far as the team and all the producers that we've worked with, anybody that I've purchased a beat from or got in the studio with, engineers. Shout out to them. So that's the team, that's the squad. As far as my home front, I want to shout out my wife. I want to shout out my four children. I want to shout out my community. I want to shout out all of North Carolina, anywhere that I laid my head, throughout the years coming up. Anybody that, looked out for me, I shout out them. I shout out my whole family. And, I want to give a shout out also to, uh, I want to give a shout out, and this should have been first, but I want to give a shout out to God. And this is just me being honest and transparent. Like I have really been on this faith walk and this journey, to where, man, things are just opening up for me. Opportunities, doors, thoughts, just my way of thinking, my approach to certain situations in life. Like I'm very refreshed and I'm very grateful for what he has done in my life and what he is currently doing in my life and what he's doing in my friends and my family's life. Everybody that I shouted out, like he's really moving. Again, I should have said it first, but I wake up giving thanks to him. I go to sleep giving thanks to him, and I know that this life that I'm living right now could have been completely different, but I also know that I'm on a mission and I have things that I need to carry out for him and for his will for my life. And so I want to give a special shout out to him and to everybody else that I mentioned. That is the team, that is the squad, that is the home front, that is the reason why I do what I do in the way that I do it. So shout out to all of those people.
Awesome, man. Definitely respect that. 100%.
Yeah.
And what do you think is going to be the next move for you as far as releases go? Do you got like more singles coming out soon? Because I know you dropped some singles the last few years as well. Are you looking at doing a project soon? Singles? You got shows coming up? What do you want to let people know about?
Yeah, so that's the biggest thing. The singles are still coming. I have a single right now that is pretty much ready to go. We're finishing up some artwork on it as far as the cover, and that'll be out. I'm anticipating that to be, if not by the end of this month, next month for sure. Get that rolling. And as far as performances, that was the biggest thing because I told you my schedule is so busy. And whenever I do get the time to do something, I want to be very intentional about it. So the team and I have been working on really setting up some things in advance so that, some of the people can kind of come see me and perform. So we are working on more performances. I've been performing in Charlotte. I've been performing in Columbia, South Carolina, and surrounding areas. I'll perform, you know, probably twice a quarter, every 3 months or so. I try to get that in, just so that I am still working on, my stage presence and my delivery and my performance and still that so it doesn't seem like I'm just a studio artist, right? I kind of want to have somewhat of the full package, but that's the main thing is just really performing more and performing more for people, to create those experiences and create those moments and to have thought-provoking conversations or ideas and life-changing moments that will have people thinking about themselves in a better and a higher level.
Yeah.
So that's my goal. So like I said, singles about to roll out in a couple of weeks, more performances, and of course I'm working on a project. I think who's not working on a project if you're an artist. I have not released a compilation of anything just yet. It's just been singles. It's just been visuals. It's just been performances. So now we are dialing in and locking in on the project and more performances. So if you are listening or trying to tune in, follow me on socials, follow my team, my management team, and you're definitely keeping everybody posted for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for the stuff too, man. And everybody, like you just said, definitely tap in with him and see what's going on and be on the lookout. It's
Yeah.
very exciting stuff, man. And we're down
Thank
to
you.
the last few questions here, and these are ones I ask on every episode. These are more life-related questions. The first
Okay.
one is, if you could go back 10 years ago, give yourself a piece of advice, or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
Ooh, 10 years ago. Um, I, it's weird. I was gonna say I probably wouldn't change anything, but I would give myself some more encouragement. So yeah, there's something I would change, right? I think I didn't I didn't realize the potency and the impact of my gift until later on, because I had friends and family members that would encourage me and push me to, you should perform this, or you should write that, you should talk about this, you should try that, or I want to hear you on this type of beat. Like if I didn't have those people in my ear or my corner, then I don't know if a lot of this stuff would have taken place, because those are trusted opinions and valued thoughts and people that are very close to me that I respected. So when they would say certain things, there's clearly something they're hearing and seeing that I necessarily didn't pick up on at the time. And so for me, I would definitely change how intentional that I was. I would change the intentionality as far as the message in my music. Because in the beginning, I'm just rapping and I'm a lyricist, so I'm trying to rap and showcase a skill set. I would have taken it a little bit more seriously as far as, okay, I'm showcasing a skill set, but now I need to be in the business of like changing lives, or just like I said, thought provoking. I wish that I probably would have gotten into that a little sooner. But that's probably the only thing, because everything that I experienced, everything that I went through, and everything that I wrote about back then, it was a reflection of my life at that time, and it was what it was. But I'm grateful for it, because it created a foundation for me to grow from, and to really kind of help, you know, guide the trajectory of my artistry and my craft now. So now I know what I want to do,
Yeah.
versus back then it was just kind of like, yeah, I'm just here to rap. I'm here with the group. I'm here with the guys. Like, oh yeah, I performed. Or yeah, here's this new piece I'm working on. Now it's very like detailed. It's structured. It's intentional. It's well thought out. It's methodical. That was probably the only thing that I changed, is just being more intentional with what I truly wanted and probably needed to do with the writing, with the music, with the craft. 10 years ago.
Yeah. That's almost, I almost view that as like wisdom coming with age. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like at each
absolutely.
step,
That's
you get
exactly
more and
what it
more
is.
wise. Yeah. So,
That's exactly what it is.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So if we flip that then and we say 10 years from now, where do you think you envision yourself in music and in life in general as well?
Oh yeah. 10 years from now, I want the. I have this movement that I'm on, and it's called Learn, Apply, Adapt. I'm an educator, I'm a father, and so I'm forever. And plus, with me writing and rapping, I'm forever exposing somebody to something, whether it's from my personal experience, whether it's like real life and like things that you can look up. Um, and so, from 10 years from now, I plan on owning and running a youth development center, to where there's opportunities, and that's not to say they don't have these around now, but there's opportunities for um, young people to get into music or get into a craft that they desire to get into, to focus on health and wellness, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, to have a early and a better understanding of financial literacy, like just everything that is of high importance in today's society. And I think technology as well. I want to have a hub for where kids and young adults, teens, or whatever, can go and really thrive, like have some place where they can have a foundation and thrive, and gain a sense of, uh, ownership over their craft, and understanding, confidence, and really taking account of where they are within their journey, and using the resources that are there to build from, to grow that. And so the music is just kind of be the soundtrack of that. At that point, I'm looking to have maybe a couple books out, whether it be self-help, motivational, children's. I just want to expand my reach. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it to be, because I know some people are going to gravitate to the music. I know some people are going to gravitate to the fact that, there's a youth center, there's a youth development, or a center up the street where you can go get that resource, or they're having a seminar here. I want to provide the opportunities for people to create their own opportunities, in a sense, whether they're listening to something that I got going on, whether they're in the same space that I've created, or whether they are reading something that I have published and put together in such an amazing way. I just want to be one of those people that has a light shining no matter where I am, whether it's through the music, whether it's through the center, whether it's through, people who may be doing some work for me, whether it's the books. I want to use all of the gifts that I have, and the skill set that I develop over time to really just have reach, not for me, it's really for God and His glory, but for the people that need it, because we're all humans. Like you said, I know you said you were dealing with some health stuff. I had dealt with some health stuff earlier in the year. So, the fact that we're able to make it another day says a lot. You know what I'm saying? We are hit with a lot of things. We got haymakers, we got monkey wrenches, we got all types of stuff that just comes our way. And as adults, it can be very difficult navigating that. And I want to just be able to be of assistance and support, hope, motivation, and inspiration for those people who need it at whatever time they need it. And whether it's, like I said, through the books, through the music, through teaching, through me being in a space where they are resonating with whatever I'm giving or whatever they're seeing. I want that to be of high level and of high value, so that when people leave, or when they close the book, or when the music ends, it's kind of like, wow, like you're not the same person after all of that. So that's what I'm seeing in the next 10 years.
Yeah, man. And that's incredible. And it just goes to show the amount of ways you can give back, even outside of like music and a couple other things you do. It's like there's so many possibilities out there to affect somebody's life, change somebody's life in a positive way. And I got to say, man, thank you so much for doing that, and for doing that for your community. And I know it's going to spread beyond there as well. And it's going to inspire people to do the same, later on in their life too, especially young people. So man, I gotta say again, appreciate you for stopping by, man. I'm excited for the new music. I'm excited for everything that you're working on, everything that's to come, and keep doing you, man. Cause I can tell you got a real genuine spirit, and what you're doing, like I said, is incredible. So whatever you need from me, you need me to ever, get involved, repost something, let me know, man. I'm all for it, but thank you for stopping by, and I hope you had a good time, man.
Man, I appreciate that. I thank you. And of course, I'll definitely be reaching out. Anytime that I get a chance to meet with somebody new and we discuss what I got going on, and to really see the kind of like the broader scope of things is truly a blessing to me. So I thank you for the time and having me on your show, man. It really means a lot. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for listening today. This was episode 220. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds, and feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. So we'll see you then. Thanks everyone.